Shalom, people. This is Brother Miles coming at you with another video. And sometimes I don't know if the Most High even want me to do this video, but I'm gonna give it the old college try, right? What we want to talk about today is drug use in the black community. Drug use in the black community, both legal and illegal drugs. Legal drugs in that the medicine that you are prescribed by your physician, your therapist, or whoever that prescribes these medicines that are prescribed by a pharmacist, and illegal by marijuana, cocaine, fentanyl, heroin, whatever our people are doing out there. I don't know, I don't think we are using crack on that level anymore. So I don't know, but whatever it's street drugs out there, I'm pretty sure it's some of us out there that are partaking of these things. This is a big problem worldwide amongst our people that needs to be addressed, even with all this stuff going on, because if the world crashes tomorrow, uh, our people are gonna have a big problem if we had to go on the run and we having issues dealing with legal and illegal drugs. Let's deal with the legal part first. The legal drugs, okay, Norvaz, lisinopril, all these other different kinds of drugs for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, whatever. It's tons of our people that are on these medications. And if you're on those medications, I am not a physician. I am not giving medical advice. I'm just telling you my observation. I can remember, this has probably been about, I say about 15 years ago, of someone telling me how they went into the emergency room and how their blood pressure was up, understandably, because of that when you sick, and you get so bad that you go into the emergency room, of course your pressure is going to be up. But immediately they when they took their pressure, they asked them, do you have high blood pressure, does it run in your family? And they're like, I don't know, whatever. So they wrote in their chart, whatever, and they said, when you go to your physician, you tell them what you've seen or whatever in our readings or whatever of your pressure or whatever. And so it was with other people that I talked to that got labs done where they diabetes came back, readings came back in the range that they asked them, did they have diabetes and all this stuff, and they kept telling them, hey, when you go see your regular doctor, tell them about the readings, they were high or whatever. And when they got to their physician, they said, oh, let's start you on these medications without even giving them a second opinion, or without the person inquiring to get a second opinion to see if they indeed had what they had then, right? Because at that time you going to the hospital, or even if you went in for a regular office visit to your regular doctor and you had these readings and the labs came in, that you would not go out and to seek a second opinion before you got started on these life-altering drugs. Or that the other alternative of changing your diet or anything like that, or using natural means to take care of it, was not introduced, and thereby millions and millions of our people worldwide are now on these things. I can remember when I was growing up in the early 70s, I used to hear my mom and them from time to time talk about people that had sugar. That's what they called it back then, sugar diabetes. But it was far and few between. You did not hear about a lot of our people that was on dialysis and these. Well, let me take that back. It could have been maybe a higher percentage than what I remember, but I do not remember Everybody talking about, hey, you know, when you come, they came over to your house for dinner. Hey, I need a glass of water so I can take my diabetic pills or take my high blood pressure pills or any of that thing. I don't remember that. Maybe I was too young to remember, but I was a very inquisitive child, and I used to pay attention and listen to certain things, and I do not remember that. But as time started going on with this integration thing, when now we had access to their doctors, right, and their hospitals and different things like that. And I'm not saying that, you know, some physicians was not doing good things for us overall, but a lot of times in schools the agenda is much higher than some of these physicians when they are issuing out certain medications. They're going by peer review studies that say if you got a patient with this is what you need to do with your patient. Also, the fact that if these pharmaceutical companies had money that they could pay to these doctors in order for them to push their illegal drugs on their patients, they would be more inclined to prescribe these people these things in order for them to help get money to pay off these tremendous student loans that a lot of them had. So it was a bait and switch a lot of times, right? And so our people, I think more than any, fell into this trap of, oh, you know, my doctor got me started on this or whatever. And after a while with these medications, what you find is they alter your body, they alter your mind, where after a while you can't get off of them unless you're gonna cause some problems for your body or your mind, and unless you really just batten down the hatch and say, you know what, I gotta reverse this thing and get off of this stuff. You will live, but the quality of life that you will have will not be a good one. It will not be a good one. And I hate to say it, when I was in the Christian church, I used to see a lot of people, you know, this is when my early adult years, right? When I was, me and my wife at first, you know, both got saved, and we was really active in the Christian church. And we used to have the church dinners and all this thing. You see everybody breaking out their pill bottles and everything, and I'm like, hold up, we supposed to be in a Pentecostal church, we supposed to be in a healing church or whatever. But what I had to understand is that the Most High is not in the business of coming in with you continuing in your poor choices and your lack of understanding, because he said our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they have rejected knowledge. A lot of times back in the day, they was trying to tell people, some people in our communities was trying to tell black people, you need to stop drinking all that Kool-Aid and stuff packed with sugar. You need to stop eating this and you need to stop eating that. And they're like, oh, I don't want to hear that. But then these same people going in there and they're shouting and praising Yah, praising God, however you want to call it, and they big as a house or whatever, and they going up there, laying hands on people, and they themselves are sick, and they laying hands on sick people, and people getting amputated and losing their sight and stuff, and that's one of the things that kind of really turned me off. In also about this church thing is that we reject knowledge. The Bible said we're supposed to worship Him in spirit and in truth. And a lot of our people, right? We have been playing the both sides of the coin, where we talk against the doctors, but you know, if push comes down to shove, right? We are not living the kind of life, we're not walking the kind of life with Yeshua like we should, where we can look at our situation and say, you know what, I do need to get off of this medication, I can do better or whatever, or even warning other people that this is not the kind of life, this is not the abundant life that the Most High wants us to live, right? He doesn't want us to live this poor quality of life, because when the stuff hits the fan and people got to go on a run, and your diabetic or your high blood pressure medicine runs out in 2 weeks, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And some have been on this medication so long that if they turn around and they quit cold turkey, like I said earlier, they're going to die or cause great damage to their body. So that we must seek the Most High. We must seek Him out and ask Him, please lead and guide us into all truth dealing with these pharmaceutical things. Help us, dear Father, to be able to step ourselves down off of these medications, if at all possible, right? If at all possible. Because sometimes some people have that thorn in their flesh to bear, and sometimes their faith is not there. And I made a video several years ago that can y'all use, medicine prescribed for the doctors, for a healing, for people who don't have that faith. But I would revise that video and not say healing, but for sustaining. But it's not healing, it's sustaining you, maybe to your faith gets where it needs to be and you can come off of it. So I'm not, just like I said, I'm not giving you no medical advice. I am not a medical professional. But I would say to you, if you are deciding that you're going to try to do something like this, get off of these legal pharmaceuticals, that you understand that until you get your faith where it needs to be and you get a clear game plan, that you probably need to continue to take them to sustain you until you get to where you need to be able to step yourself down off of them. Can I get an amen? Right. Now let's talk about the illegal. This has always been a problem for our people, dealing with marijuana, cocaine, just different, things, because understand that back during the time of witchcraft, which even is still today, they use a lot of drugs, plants and stuff to get people in altered states of mind in order to commune with these spirits, right? And so we know that our people was known to be off and on into different witchcraft, voodoo, and all these different things. So of course, I'm sure that we engage in illegal drug use or drugs that were from the leaves of the field, which a lot of people use that scripture in a wrong way to say, okay, this stuff was growing in the field, therefore it must be good. For where poison ivy is out there, does that mean that everything is out there, the leaves of the poison ivy, the poison sumac, that you can use that? No, I don't think so. And so this thing of marijuana has been around for so many years and people use it for whatever. Yes, I believe that they use it, but understanding this, but that they smoking it, I do not believe that is one of the ways that the Most High will have us to use marijuana, the plant that from which we get the marijuana. That I do believe that the THC in the plant probably was used in the past by ancestors to relieve pain, but I don't believe that they smoked it. And if they smoked it, I believe it probably was used in some kind of witchcraft ceremony, because I just don't believe that the Most High would have us to ingest it like that. If you want to get the most out of it, it's probably going to be something that you're going to have to drink, and or something that you put in a powder form, make it, put it in something, and then you consume it somehow with your mouth, but not smoking it. And I know it's so widespread now, that people say, what's the big deal? Because even when I was, in a Christian church, I know it was some people that was definitely, using drugs, illegal drugs, because again, they was using that same scripture, the leaves of the field are for the healing of the nations, but not, I don't believe for smoking. I don't believe that. This stuff is dumbing down our people. It's killing sperm cells. It's killing our IQ. It's making a lot of our men, kind of effeminate, and not talking about lip rest effeminate, but I'm just talking about just they don't want to do the things that men need to do. They don't want to work. They don't want to they want to be led around by women, letting as a woman is going to take care of them. They don't have no problem with that. They don't want to take care of the household. They just want to lay around and everything. And I'm here to let you know that when I was young, I was, I used. I'm not proud of that, but I thank the Most High Yah for saving me and delivering me from that, and taking me off of that. And I'm so glad. So I'm not here to say that, that I never but used it before, but I did not have no illusions like these men today that believe that it makes them wiser, makes them smarter, makes them more stable or whatever. I'm just saying, because one of the arguments they do use is, okay, well, the legal drugs, right? They cause all these side effects, but marijuana doesn't. Don't believe the hype. Do not believe that. All you have to do is look at the country of Jamaica. Look at Jamaica. I mean, all the great mathematicians and bankers, for y'all's sake. That's where a lot of the people were laundering their money down there in them banks down there in the Caribbean. So these people do have such a great mind to be used, that could be used to help uplift their nation and uplift the black race. But overall, it's so many of them that's probably strung out on this marijuana that it negates any good use you could have with the general populace to be able to go in there and harness. So you see that a lot of their minds go out to other countries and go to study. I seen a thing where it was a lot of Jamaicans that were going into Japan to study and to work and different things like that, fleeing their own country because of the violence caused by the money created by drug use over there, right? Not to mention the Rasta community, which my understanding is it didn't start with anything dealing with drugs and alcohol and all this kind of stuff. It was a way to get away from anything connected to the Western mindset. And so here we have this that people have adopted, and seemingly we even have that mindset in this thing called the Hebrew Israelite movement, where it's quite a few, not unlike the black Christian church. Also, they're not alone now, but that it's almost now a given in some camps that, hey, the leaves of the field for the healing of the nation, that they're really pushing that. I mean, so much so that I've had people that told me that how they met Hebrew Israelite, camp members, and they smoking big blunts and all this kind of crazy stuff. And of course, I mean, I can't, what can I say? I'm not going to defend that kind of craziness. I'm going to say, yeah, I run as far away from it as possible too. But overall, even without the camps and the Christian church, people that might be doing these illegal drugs throughout the whole black community worldwide, we need to stop it. Because now we're seeing over in Africa where they're pushing marijuana as a cash crop that the young people can go in, and I just don't think it's good. We need to be sober-minded. We need to be planting food over there. We don't need to be planting dope. And this is what all these Europeans are flocking over there to try to set up all these acres and acres and acres, hectares of drugs to grow, right? And marijuana is always a gateway drug, right? It's gonna open it up, and now, of course, you're starting to find cocaine and other stuff in Africa, and that's the last thing that, if we supposed to be going there as a wilderness, that we need to be combating that. When I was in Somalia, they had a plant there called khat, and it was a plant that if you chew it, it gives you a high like marijuana. And one of the things that we found out while we was over there during that peacekeeping mission was a lot of times the different clans were fighting against each other over the sale of the khat to different people. And we knew that it was a certain time of day when they chewed the khat, right, and it would cause them to get high, that it was maybe about 1 or 2 hours after that they would attack us because they was in a altered state. So I'm telling you, worldwide, all black people, whether they Hebrew or not, it is a problem. Drug use is a problem, and it's got to be addressed. It's got to be, no matter if you're talking about separating from the white man or whatever, it won't do no good, because see, you're gonna still have infighting dealing with the drugs. You're still gonna have maybe the black doctors that you might have spring up, or the white doctors that might come amongst our community that will still be putting you on these different pharmaceuticals. There has to be a wholesale change in our way of thinking. That's why I'm a firm believer that things is not going to change until Yeshua himself comes to this planet and rules with a rod of iron to get rid of all these mindsets. Because the mindset won't change just because our people go to Africa. Our people still be getting on the diabetic medicines. They're still, and even if they do try to get on the natural, what you're seeing it with a lot of these people that's turning into vegans or vegetarians is that eventually they move them on to the THC, smoking it or taking it, just to keep them calm or whatever. And then next thing you know, they're gonna not just be satisfied to take it, and whatever, just to take it when they really need it. Like if they was getting an operation and they needed, say, something to take care of the pain. If they was getting an operation, they're gonna be abusing it, whatever it is, marijuana or whatever other kind of plants that they have over there in Africa or through the world, that they would say this is the natural remedy, right? But it's still opening you up to what the Bible calls sorceries, which that word in the Greek is pharmakeia, opening you up to spirits. That's why he said when he comes, the trees that's going to be growing over in our land, that's going to crop up when the Messiah comes, those are going to be for the healing of the nations. It's going to be 12 trees. But right now, those 12 trees are not here. Even though we can use some of the stuff out here in nature to heal us, we can't use all of it. And you got to have a righteous mind in order to use it the right way, right? Because you're saying, well, if I can't use the pharmaceuticals, then I need to be able to use what's out in nature. But Paul said that we must strive lawfully as believers, meaning that, okay, if I'm not going to be taking the pharmaceuticals, then I need to strive righteously if I'm going to be using the herbs that's in the field, that I'm not using it as a pretense to go out and get medical marijuana gummies and all this other kind of crazy stuff. For God's sake, at one time, people thought that putting cocaine and cough syrup and Coca-Cola and stuff was okay, until they start understanding that you had housewives and babies that were being addicted to this stuff. And then they wised up and said, nah, we got to pull back. But people could say, I'm just doing what they, giving me, all right up. But I would have had to say that, hey, hold up now. If even if this stuff is prescribed for you, but it's not. It's causing you to be in an altered state. You need to step up and say, hey, there's got to be a change. There used to be a time that doctors might prescribe for people that had heart problems one glass of red wine, right? Because it was something about the resveratrol that was in it. And you know what? I probably wouldn't have had no problem with that. But some people, they can't have that one glass of red wine. They got to have the whole bottle, right? And so this is where he said strive lawfully. We really got to get our act together, right? Because we really need to start looking inwardly to start, and I'm talking to myself too, to change the way we doing things, right? Because once Most High removes the problem of the Gentiles out the way, we're going to find out a lot of the problems that we have had, which is one of the reasons why the Gentiles took over it, is that the problem is us, ourselves, right? Because we are a stiff-necked people, right? And we don't like to listen. We don't like to do right, right? And I can look back at myself and see, man, I could have been a whole lot further ahead than what I was if I had not been stiff-necked, and I would have studied to show myself approved. I'm not talking about just with the Bible. I'm talking about with life general. I would have been ahead. But a lot of times when I did hear, I rejected that knowledge. And one of the things that like I said, I rejected was just dealing with like I said, using marijuana. I didn't believe that it was good for me like these kids today. I knew it wasn't, but I just like doing. I thought, hey, this is what I need to do. I'm seeing everybody else, but thank the Most High, He delivered me from that. He delivered me, right? But now we have a generation, like I said, that is so widespread and it's everywhere. It's in the songs and everything, right? That we definitely need a move of Yah amongst our old and young people, because it's old people that's doing it still too, and it's being promoted, and it's being promoted on the continent big time. It's people that's got money in the stocks and the pharmaceutical companies. It's a lot of our people that got money in it. We got a lot of our people that work in the pharmaceutical industry. So we need the Most High to deal with both of these issues in our community if we are to move toward the two sticks coming together in some kind of coherentness and being that mighty army that he talks about that stands up in Ezekiel. So with that, I'd like to tell you to leave a comment. I'd like you to subscribe, and I'd like you to give this video a thumbs up. Be blessed.